Welcome everybody, my name is Mr. Llama, and today I am bringing you a PvZ. This is going to be between Triumph's Bones, spawning up in the top right hand corner. He is your red Protoss, and he is going up against colRyze, the blue Zerg, who is spawning down in the bottom left corner. The map is Daybreak, and ooh, it feels so good to be back into casting. So it is getting close to finals, everybody, as I'm sure many of the students in school do know, and I have my finals of my own. So I've just been working on projects and papers and really doing everything and anything to make sure I get all of that stuff done. And so, you know, I know I've been slacking a little bit these last couple days. I mean, there was Thanksgiving break, and then there was coming right back into all these tests and finals, and it's still gonna be like that probably for about another week and a half. But after that, I will be solid in everything. So make sure to tune in for December, because I'm going to have a lot of content up starting like midway through December right there. So it looks like Bones in the meantime is going to be going for that fast expansion. Will he grab a Forge first? Will he grab a Nexus first? We'll have to see, as he does get a scout probe up into the base and sees Ryze most likely going to be grabbing that 15 pool, but we'll see if he tries to sneak out a hatch first. Additionally, it is the 29th today, and he will throw down a pool. And what happens at the end of the month? Well, of course, the Mr. Llama YouTube ad revenue giveaway happens. So it's going to be $100 again this month. I did not make over $100 in ad revenue, so I just bump it up and, you know, take a little pocket money and make it a $100 giveaway, because hey, why not? So if you are a subscriber to my YouTube, my Twitch, or my Twitter, you do get automatically a vote, basically, or you get a ticket, I suppose you could say, into the, not really raffle, but into the giveaway. And then of course I will do a drawing either tomorrow or the next day live on stream. So of course there's no cheating or anything. It'll just be live and you'll get to see. It's just a random pick from all my subscribers, and then I send that person $100 when they contact me. So yeah, if you aren't a subscriber, that's just an added benefit. And then of course you also get to enjoy all my videos, hopefully enjoy, I should say. So in the meantime, let's get back into the game. We see colRyze, who is taking this third hatch right here, has yet to grab that natural expansion. We'll probably grab that a little bit later, but he did just opt to go for the hatch first, or not the hatch first, the third base first. And with that, he sent his overlord over there, which is an extremely important thing to do, because a lot of times if you do not do this, your opponent will send a probe there, drop a pylon, drop a couple cannons. You can't see those cannons, and then the next thing you know, you're getting cannoned at your third base because you tried to take it early, and you lose the third base, and then you're really far behind, and it's just not a fun situation. So here we do see Ryze sending out this next drone. We'll be dropping that hatch here, around 23 supply it looks like, and as well he is now scouting into Bones base, sees the gas assimilators going up at this point. Bones just continuing to just get that basic tech at this point, trying to secure these expansions. He has a cannon up. This probe will be fine. Actually gets a free little Zergling kill there, and Ryze going to be taking this third base. 3 base versus 2 base PvZ. And at this point, a lot of the times there's a couple of things that can happen. Of course, first we could see Ryze go for some sort of fast all-in. He could take the 3 bases, but then go for like a Ling Baneling all-in. There was actually a Hydra Ling Nidus all-in. I can't remember who did that, but I saw something like that. Very strong. So we'll have to see, you know, if he's going to do that. It doesn't look like it this far. It looks like he's just continuing with this drone production, as we can see in his production tab. As well, he doesn't have any gas, so he's not going to have any speed on the way. So at this point, it'll now kind of shift over into the Protoss and his hands, and say, you know what does the Protoss player want to do? Does the Protoss player want to go all in? Does he want to go for a 2 base hit? Does he want to go for a fast third base? A lot of times you'll see them take it like 630 and try and kind of sneak it out. Here we see Ryze, a great player though, is getting an overlord over there to spot, so he does want to be able to see what's going on. Additionally, he's floating this overlord through the base because he wants to see if there's anything, you know, that was thrown down. And here we have a robotics facility, and is there any +1 yet? Possibly soon, maybe? I'd imagine a sentry on the way, because this looks like an immortal sentry. And whether or not it's an immortal sentry expand or an immortal sentry all in, we have yet to determine. But you have to remember, from what it looks like, I actually just practiced a lot of Immortal Sentry all-ins when I was making one of my Cheese with These videos. And this is exactly how you set it up, because you want to block this off right here. So you get that +1. Now it's really starting to look like it. And of course, there's a sentry on the way. So you're able to then block in with pylons. So in case he kind of gets in with lings or whatever, you can prevent him from running up into your main. I mean, it's just a lot of extra added security that you're throwing down at this point in the game. But of course, this is always good to do anyways. But here we see Bones will be throwing down 2 additional gateways. Is he going to be throwing down another one? He's only up to 3 gates at this point. He is saving up a little bit of money though. He is chrono boosting out this this immortal, from the robotics facility, and there is the 4th gas being thrown down. It looks very similar to Parting's Immortal Sentry style all in, but you know what, maybe it's not. Additionally though, he does have this probe out on the map. This is very huge because you want to be able to have that warp in. That first round of warp-ins, if you can join it up with your army, makes it that much stronger. And then of course later on, after the immortals do pop out, you can then grab your warp prism, which you can then use for warping. And so here we see more sentries on the way. We see this +1 being researched. I wonder if he'll maybe grab +1 ground armor. I don't think Parting does that in his style. And there are all the additional gateways being thrown down. So we are up to 5, 6, 7 gates right there. So 7 gateways right here. It is going to be the Immortal Sentry all in. I thought it might. But you know, they can sometimes still take that 3rd base off of it. But once you throw down the 7 gateways, you are going to go all in. I even saw one player, once again, cannot remember who. I watch a lot of games, but I saw one player go and actually fake a 3rd base at this point. He dropped a pylon, dropped another pylon, dropped a nexus. So the Overlord saw it, then he killed the Overlord, then some Zerglings came by, they still saw it. And then in the back, he had these 7 gateways, and he just killed it off. And Ryze, what is Ryze doing? Because we want to see what exactly he's getting. How he's going to defend this. So he has a +1 range on the way. That will probably not be out in time for when this push actually hits. As we do see right now, Bones is going to start moving out across the map. His macro hatch is almost finished. Speed is on the way for his roaches. He does have his Ling speed, I do believe. Yes, he does. So he has a decent Ling Roach army, but I mean, no armor is going to be very critical right here. As we can see, 0-0 on these lings, as the warpin of zealot reinforcements, which he doesn't look like he has too many, but when he gets zealots, of course, just so brutal. The zerglings just die off so quickly. I love the creeps right here. He's going to try and get in, do a little damage, burns at least 5 force fields, so he can definitely say that was a nice victory, although he did lose a few units right there. But Ryze just wants to continue massing up units at this point. He does have the 4 hatcheries going, and now it looks like Bones just going to be content with continuing to warp in at this point right here. He does have the warp prism overhead. If he needs to use it for warping, of course he can as well use it for picking up and dropping the immortals in the back if he wants to do some extra micro right there. I have seen that before, but he needs to hurry because colRyze's ball is getting bigger. He has 28 more lings on the way, 3 more roaches. Bones has waited a decent amount of time. He does have a few more warpins right here, a few more lings. It looks like we're going to see Ryze go for a sort of surround. Bones able to wall himself in right here, so actually going to be able to just kind of prevent too much damage from happening. But at the same time, will he lose that pylon? No, he will not. Instead, it looks like Ryze is going to lose a few units for free, as he is not really watching. So some roaches will go down at that point. And it's just this Ling Roach still, which he is just massing up. 18 more roaches, though, on the way. That is a ton. There's still a couple of force fields here for Bones, but not many. He does have a lot of sentries, but I don't think he really has enough right there for all of the force fields that he's spent. I think he only has about 4 or 5, maybe 6 force fields now. So it looks like Bones going to actually want to try and wait. He's actually kind of backing out with this. Has colRyze successfully defended the Immortal Sentry all in? That is what it's starting to look like. At this point, of course, the game is still not over. Bones just going to continue to mass up this army, or he could try and expand. But of course, it's very hard to expand at this point. And no, Bones is going to continue to add these sentries into his army. He wants to have a ton more force fields, but Ryze starting to get maxed at this point. Bones, though, is not afraid to just sit back and relax. He's also starting to get his +1 armor. This will be done when the +2 range does finish for Ryze, but will he attack before that? It looks like he will. Ryze, though, is maxed out, so he could possibly get in there and just absolutely obliterate him. Here we see some decent force fields, though. He has cut the armies in half. Let's remember that, everybody. So he is going to be able to engage from both sides if he wants, but with beautiful force fields, he might be able to keep the army back. And here it looks like he's going to start pushing in. A lot of these units are not attacking for Ryze. Bones still able to do a decent amount of damage here. decent force fields are holding off a lot of the army, but Bones is still trapped in the middle of all these units. Will he fall down? It's going to be very close as Ryze continues to reinforce. 18 more roaches on the way. A lot of damage being done by Ryze, and he is doing some immortal warp prism drop, pick up, all of the great micro that we do love to see, and just picking up units left and right and doing a great job. And has Bones somehow managed to hold off the infinite number of roaches and lings surrounding his army? It looks like he has. Will he be able to continue to push in, though, is the question. It looks like that is not something he is considering yet. Is he going to actually? Yes, it looks like he will turn around. Does he have the energy for the force fields, though, to split that army? That is going to be crucial, and you can see Ryze just back and forth. He does not want to get his army cut in half, as that would be very critical. Look at these two immortals down in the red. Bones did a great job of just lifting and dropping those immortals, making sure they stayed alive and were able to just keep outputting that damage. 55 damage a shot versus each of these roaches, of course. And then as well, they do 20 damage, I think, to each ling. 25, 22 damage a shot to each ling, which will kill them, of course, in the 2 hits. But they're 2 hits either way. But yeah, so the damage just to those roaches is huge. Do we have any additional tech at all for Ryze? It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's simply going to be this roach ling composition. And Bones as well is just sticking to his immortal sentry all in style. He does have another immortal on the way, actually 2 more on the way, and he's going to use his warp prism to go grab them and then bring them back to his army. So I love that decision right there. Ryze, in the meantime, is just going to start massing up an army. I'd like to see a little counterattack, possibly. Maybe send a buttload, not a buttload, but maybe like 12, 14 roaches over to that base. Instead, he's just going to try and head in, it looks like, with a big surround. Possibly just catch his opponent off guard. Here we go. He's going to start moving in. Will Bones get the force fields needed? Blocks off one ramp right there completely. The roach is still able to do a little bit of damage and blocks off enough of the other one that he is able to hold on while he ferries over his 2 immortals. That will bring this up to a total of 5 immortals, which is super strong against roaches once an opponent gets to that point. Once a Protoss player gets to those 5 immortals, it really nullifies a lot of damage that the roachling army composition can do to this army. So you need to start teching up. I'd like to see some sort of infestation pit. He's throwing down yet another macro hatch, which is good as well, because of course he is floating a lot of money. He's up to 1,300 minerals, 1,400 at this time, but TriBones is just going to continue reinforcing, and Ryze is not adding any value to his army. He's maxed out at this point. He's going to continue, of course, to add on the production facility as we see, but now it's just going to be Bones continuing to add to this 1-1 army of his, and he's still just on these 2 bases, but that is a very scary 2-base army. Additionally, he has so many force fields on all of these sentries. Here it looks like we're going to have an engagement. Nice force fields do go down, able to trap out all of those lings, able to keep a lot of the roaches at bay. Actually traps a few in that little tunnel right there. Look how many force fields were actually thrown down, and Ryze backs off. He's going to go ahead and mass attack in again. How many force fields are left? It looks like still a couple. Is it going to be enough? Bones has a lot of immortals though, and as I said before, immortals versus roaches, the immortals win that game, especially when you have 5 of them able to do so much damage right here. And now Bones just looking to continue and push forward. Here we do have Burrow, though, for these roaches, but there's an observer overhead, so Bones smartly will be able to see that. But, of course, if there are any force fields down below, the force fields will be negated by the burrow, so we can at least escape out some roaches, and Bones going to get another warping right here, able to get some force fields off right there. The roach is going to try and burrow and move in, but have they trapped themselves in a terrible position? Yes, they're going to actually burrow, try and push out. The 5 immortals still stand for Bones, 3 in the red. Bones, with great warp prism micro, though, has managed to keep all of his immortals alive this entire game. And I mean, I want to look at the units lost tab really quick. So in favor of Triumph's Bones at this point, as he now is going to start pushing in. And has he done it? Will he be able to secure this with the longest immortal sentry all in that I have ever seen? A great follow-up, great micro. I love the ferrying of the immortals over to his army right there. Now he's going to trap a lot of drones and even more roaches there with some force fields, going to try and push in the back, and even still he is going to be microing the immortals into that warp prism. Now it's going to start pushing up into his opponent's base. There's still 4 hatcheries worth of production, but you have to look at the supplies right now. It is definitely starting to get close here as Bones is about to even up the supply. Looks like Ryze going to try and hit from both sides. Will he be able to? Force fields yet again going to deny apply a lot of the damage at the front there from Ryze, and now we see he's able to force field back here at this ramp and prevent Ryze from moving those roaches up. Ryze is too focused elsewhere, and Bones just going to continue to push forward, going to be able to kill off so many roaches, do so much damage, and I'm not sure that Ryze will be able to hold this at this point as his supply plummets, and GG from Ryze triumphs Bones with the longest Immortal Sentry push I have ever seen, everybody. So wow, what a great game, what a victory, because Ryze got up to that max 200 army, and Bones didn't even blink. He just said, okay, you know what, I'm totally comfortable with this. I'm just going to back off. I'm just going to continue to reinforce. I'm going to gather energy on my sentries, which he had a ton of sentries, and then just beautiful force fields. Constantly was able to keep Ryze from engaging his army, from really getting in with all of those Zerglings to get us around. He forced him to go more roach style, and then he ferried over these extra immortals to bring him to a 5 immortal count, which is just so deadly, and he was able to take the victory while being mined out of his main base. So that's going to be it for me. My name is MrLlama. I hope you guys enjoyed this cast, and I will see you guys next time.